Whitney Houston's daughter, Bobbi Kristina Brown, is still in the hospital today, reportedly in a medically induced coma. The 21-year-old Brown was found unresponsive, face down in a bathtub at her home in Roswell, Georgia, early yesterday morning. Police say they performed CPR at the home and she was taken to a hospital. Officials are still investigating, but say at this point there is no sign drugs were a factor.
Right now, they did not see anything on the scene that would indicate that. No alcohol or drugs laying around that would indicate that.
This comes just days before the 3rd anniversary of Whitney Houston's death. Her mother, Houston, was found in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel on February 11th, 2012. And here now to talk more about the specifics of a medically induced coma and why Brown may have been placed in one is behavioral analyst Adam Heller. Thank you very much, Mr. Heller, for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
First of all, why would someone be placed in a medically induced coma? Was she barely alive when they got her out of that tub yesterday?
Well, they found her unconscious, and Bobbi Kristina has had a very unusual life. She was on tour with Whitney Houston as a kid. Okay. The lights, the cameras, the action, the excitement, the stimulation, the drugs, the alcohol. And then she had a father who was arrested time and time again. Again, more stimulation, more excitement. The parents publicly fighting over and over. Again, more stimulation, more excitement. And then all of a sudden, in one moment, Whitney's dead. Right. She's estranged from her father. And what she left with, herself, the emotional pain. Anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, shame, all of those things, that inner dialogue, barking negativity over and over again. And Bobbi Kristina had, at best, minimal parenting. So she didn't have rules, she didn't have structure, she didn't have tools, she didn't have the ability, no stabilizing force, nobody like me to help her get over this. So she's left with really two choices in life. She can run away from her parents' life and go out and create something great, or she can metaphorically curl up into the fetal position and spiral downwards. So the choices were Justin Bieber, Lindsay Lohan, or Taylor Swift. And unfortunately, she chose the former, and eerily, like her mother, they find her breathless in the bathtub. Right. And the really unfortunate thing is it didn't have to happen. Yes, prisons and morgues are filled with people who had bad parenting, but so are the top floors of office buildings. And there's never been a study ever that said that bad parenting needs to lead to a bad life. So the tragedy is this didn't have to happen.
I mean, being in the public eye, we've seen this happen, you know, with a lot of children of stars. I mean, we were thinking about it and talking about yesterday, you know, Michael Jackson's child. I mean, Paris Jackson's tried to take her life, I believe, a couple of times as well. So it's not really a blame game. It's, well, now something major has happened. Try to catch up and try to fix it now while we can. Do you know anything about her condition and what being in a medically induced coma, does it seem like that's something you can come out of? Do you know anything about that?
Well, I'm not a doctor. I have been involved in case, or at least spoken of several times in the past when people are put in a medically induced coma. The point is to allow them typically to heal, and there often is brain swelling, so to let that come down a little bit. I don't know the numbers. I suspect that she is in really poor shape. The chances of coming out probably are less than 50-50, not my expertise. Right. However, every time I've seen it, when people come out, they have been diminished.
Right. A little less able to, I was looking that up as well, communicate not as well, remembering things, that kind of thing. And there was something I was reading interesting about when they're in that, because it's kind of a drug-induced thing, a medically induced, that they have a lot of nightmares. They feel like their brain can't rest. So if she's going through that as well, that's almost like a post-traumatic stress. There's a lot of things that she's going to have to deal with if, in fact, she's able to get out of this.
Well, the interesting thing is she's been dealing with that while she's been conscious all these years. Again, the talk, the negativity, all these sort of inner disasters going on in her life, and nobody there to really help her. No stabilizing force, nobody there to help her. The parenting wasn't there. So this is, it didn't have to happen, but it's pretty darn predictable.
So we're saying that there's no way to solve it now, but obviously guidance at a young age if your parents are two superstars, right?
Absolutely. We've seen it over and over again. Now, if she comes out of this coma, there's nothing to say that she can't learn how to have a great life. She learned how to be helpless. She can learn how to have a great life and go forward. Hopefully, she'll survive.
All right. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Mr. Heller. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. John, we'll send it back to you.